In this video, I'm going to show you how to use text, typography, and fonts inside of Photoshop. Now you can follow along with the chalkboard.psd file that I've supplied, or you can just open up a new document and follow along that way. Now to begin adding any type of text in Photoshop, we can use the Type tool in the toolbar on the left hand side. So if we hover over that T there, you'll see it says Horizontal Type Tool with the shortcut key letter T. And if we hold that down, you can see that there's actually the horizontal type tool, the vertical type tool if you want to type vertically, and then some masking tools. But we're just going to start with the basics and the horizontal type tool. Now to add any text inside of Photoshop, we can just go ahead and click on the document. And when we do, two things happen. A blinking cursor appears and a new text layer is added over in the layers panel. So we know it's a text layer because of the T for the icon. And what's great about the text layers is that they're editable at any point as long as you don't rasterize them or turn them into an image type layer. Then you can continue editing them and working on them. So let's just go ahead and type something in. So I know it's hard to see, but I just typed in Photoshop, and the first thing that we want to do is make this bigger. Now as long as we have that type tool selected, we can click and edit this text, and as you can see, whenever I hover over the text, my cursor changes, and I can set up my cursor and then just click 3 times and it'll highlight that text. Now this is 12-point font, so it's very small. Let's make this bigger so it's easy for us to see. We can do that in the options bar at the top, and we'll go through all these options, but the first one we want is these small t and the large T here, and this is the size. So if we click on this, you can see that there's some options here, everything from 6 points to 72 points. Well, I can click 72 points, but maybe that's not big enough and we want it bigger. Well, you can also write in your own numbers here by highlighting this and selecting anything you want or typing in anything you want. So I'm going to type double the size, 144, and then I'll just click out of there and it'll do that for me. Now again, I can go ahead and I can use this type tool and continue editing, but let's go ahead and move this first. So I'm going to use the move tool and I'm going to move this here. And whenever you see these purple lines popping up inside of Photoshop, those are alignment guides, and it's trying to figure out what would be best for you to align this to. So I had a line going vertically and horizontally, and it helped me center this up to my document. So if you ever see those lines, those are just to help you align up your text or images or layers. And if you have multiple layers, it'll try to align each layer to themselves and different things. So if you were wondering what those are, that's what they do. Now the great thing is I can use the type tool to edit this, and I can also make edits as long as I have that layer selected. I'm on the move tool right now, but you can see that my properties panel is open on the right hand side, and I can make adjustments. So just like I was able to adjust the font size, I can do that here, and it will do that for me. So I can make those adjustments even though I don't have that tool opened. But if you want to go in and change the text and make some more edits, you'll want to select that type tool and then click in there, and it'll let you go ahead and start editing this. So I'm going to go ahead and use the type tool for a moment just so you can see the options at the top, and I'll need to highlight the text so it makes those changes. At the top, you can see under the options bar, we have vertical and horizontal type. There's a button there that we can change that orientation. We have the different font types, so as you go over these, it'll actually change that font, and you can see what it's going to look like, which is a great feature to have. We can also add fonts from Typekit, so you can bring in new fonts directly from the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. Let's go ahead and make sure we set that back to Lato or any font type that you want to follow along with. Next to that, we have the different ways that we can edit this particular font type. So they're going to have different ones of these for the different types of fonts that you select. You might not see all of these, but for this particular font style, we have all these different ways that we can edit it. So we can make it hairline, thin, italics, bold, semi-bold, heavy, dark, black, and all these different things. So let's just select thin for now so that you can see what it looks like. And I'm going to click out of here so that you can see that edit, and it made it a really thin, same font that we're using here, but it's a thinner style instead of the regular or the bold style. So let's go ahead and set that back to regular. You've already seen the font size, which we can adjust our points here at 144 points. To the right of that, we can tell if we want this font to be sharp, crisp, strong, or smooth. We can change the alignment. So if you're writing a paragraph, it can be left or center or right justified. We can change the color here. So maybe we can go ahead and make this white so it's a little easier to see. We can warp the font. So when we click on this button, it'll give us different styles. If we want to make an arc or a bulge or any of these other styles, you can select them here and make those adjustments. You can click on this, which will open up the character and paragraph panels, which we'll go over in just a moment. And then finally, we can create 3D from the text that we have here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other options. If we look up at the top, there's actually a type menu bar item. And under here, you can see that we can add fonts from Typekit. We can open up all the different panels, which we'll go over. And then we can make some of those adjustments, such as the anti-aliasing, the orientation, if you want to convert these to a shape or rasterize the type layer, warp the text, match the font, and some other options here. Let's go ahead and look at the panels, as you'll be using these a lot whenever you're working with typography or any type of text. So the first one is the character panel, which I can access by clicking here, or going to Window and selecting Character, or by selecting this button here. So when I click this button, it's going to open up that for me over in these panels. So here we have the character panel. This is going to allow you to edit on a character basis. So this will have our font family and types, how we want that style to look, the size, and then we also have other things such as leading and kerning settings and tracking and different ways to adjust this font. So you can make them look bigger and bolder, subscripted, italic, superscripted, change the color. Everything on the character level you can actually do right here. Then we have the paragraph panel, and this will allow us to do things as we begin typing out paragraphs, such as our alignment, our justifications, if we want indentations, and so forth. Let's take a look at some of the other panels. So if I go back to type and I click on panels, we have the glyphs panel. And this is great for selecting any type of extra glyphs or symbols that you might not know where to find them. So for instance, the Greek is pulled up right here. So if we need any of these Greek letters, we can use that Leto font family and we can select Greek here, and it will give us all these Greek symbols under that font family. And then there's all kinds of other things that you can do here, such as punctuation will show us all of our punctuation marks. We can go to currency and see all of those marks. And then all of these other settings that you can find directly from this font family. And depending on the font, you may have some of these or may not. Another great thing about using glyphs is that you can use these in your design work. Though they are for fonts, you can think outside of the box and use these to actually help create some of your designs. And you should look through here because there's a lot of really cool glyphs and symbols. So I'll close that. And then finally, there is also the character styles and panel styles options that you can use. And what these do is they allow you to create styles. So down here at the bottom, we have this button that says, allows us to create a new paragraph style or create a new character style. And what that means is if we go in and we set up our character and we give it all the different things, the leading, tracking, kerning, we give it a color and how we want that font to look, we can actually save that out as a style so that we can use that later on in our design or in our documents by using the paragraph and character styles. You can do the same thing with a paragraph. If you get your paragraph set up exactly how you want it to look and you need to use that across multiple designs, you can save that out as a style here. So that gives you a brief understanding of how to use text and type and fonts inside of Photoshop. Now you can go ahead and you can edit this type and you can create more type. So if we select this button again and then we click down here, it'll actually create a new layer. And as you can see, the layers are named by whatever you type in here. So if I just put, say, CC 2018 and I click on the Move tool, it changes that layer name to CC 2018 and gives me a great way to keep track of the different layers and which one is which. And I can come in here and start adding in those texts and types and typography and go ahead and play around with them. And then a little bit later on in the course under the typography section, we'll dive deep into what all of these settings actually do.